John chapter 17 reads, Yahushua said these words and lifted up his eyes to the heavens and said, Father, the hour has come. Esteem your son, so that your son also might esteem you. So, um, obviously, he's referring to what he spoke in the previous chapter that we already read. Um, and we saw how it was talking about both the first and the second manifestation. I mean, what he did when he came and what Yahweh would do during the coming of the last. And we saw several things regarding the importance of his name when he uh, comes to salvation and for prayer. So now it says these words, or Yahushua said these words, and lifted up his eyes to the heavens and said, Father, the hour has come, meaning that it was time for him to go and die to complete his ministry. Esteem your son, meaning receiving resurrection and bringing him up to the right hand of the Father, so that your son also might esteem you, right? And as we saw in previous chapters, Yahushua said that when we would pray in his name, he himself would do it so that we would give honor to the Father. So by the Son having that authority and that power at the right hand of the Father, then by doing and fulfilling what the congregation would pray, then the congregation would give honor and praise uh, Yahweh. But also, it's interesting how in the well, obviously Yahushua by dying for us according to the plan of the Father, he is giving honor and esteem to Yahweh, as we see here, so that your son also might esteem you. And um, when the last comes, he comes as the prodigal son. I'm sorry, that keeps popping up. Um, he comes as the prodigal son. And just like just like the it says here, the Father, the hour has come, esteem your son, right? Give honor, splendor to your son, so that your son also might esteem you, so that through Yahushua going to the right hand of the Father, the last could manifest the prodigal son. He would be able to manifest and receive salvation, the forgiveness of sins, so that he can give now honor to the Father, make him obviously, is the Father doing it through the last, right? To establish the kingdom of the Father on this earth, and therefore, so that the whole world know Him. And when they know Him, there's um, the only thing that a person can do is to give Him honor, esteem, praise for how great He is, right? So, as we know, after the two witnesses are killed and the last plagues happen, then the knowledge of Yahweh will cover the earth as water covers the sea. So when Yahweh himself reveals his presence to humanity, then it will be um, everybody will give steam to him through what the Son did after everything is fulfilled at the end of uh, the last 7 years, the last week of Daniel. So then he says, verse 2, as you have given him authority over all flesh, that he should give everlasting life to all whom you have given him. As you have given him authority over all flesh, right? So Yahweh gave Mashiach the authority over all flesh, every, human being, but also every animal, we could say, because they all have flesh, of course, that he should give everlasting life to all whom you have given him. So through Yahushua, obviously, is that we receive everlasting life, that he should give everlasting life to all whom you have given him. And this everlasting life, that they should know you. And this is everlasting life, right? Which is pretty much where, in a way, what I was saying regarding how after the last week of Daniel and the kingdom of Yahweh is established on this earth, then the knowledge of Yahweh will cover the earth. And that's why it says that they should know you. And what is to know him is to have everlasting life. So I don't want that to keep popping up. I'm sorry, I really don't like it at all. But I sometimes will like to select so that you guys can see what I'm talking about or the words I'm focusing on. But when I let go of the mouse, sometimes that happens. It pops up. This time it didn't, right? Murphy's law, of course. So it says, and this is everlasting life. This is similar in a way, and what I mean by similar is how um simple Yahweh made things, and we made make them difficult, right? Through a bunch of things, being in the flesh and everything else that comes with it. But Yahweh made one way to Him. Through Yahushua, we receive forgiveness. He made it free by just accepting Him as sovereign, by just believing in what He did. So remember that when Yahushua was asked what was the work of Yahweh or the work that we had to do for Yahweh in order to fulfill the commandments, in order to pretty much earn the kingdom, Yahushua said, the work of Yahweh is that you believe in him whom he sent, right? So if you believe in the Messiah, then you are fulfilling the work of Yahweh. That is what Yahweh wanted you to do, to believe in the Son, right? Because once you do that, then obviously when you accept him as the Son of the Most High, then his spirit will change you in order for you to be able to fulfill the commandments through love, right? Because he also said that the whole Torah and the prophets hangs of two commandments: to love Yahweh with all your heart, all your mind, and all your strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And as we know, uh, he who loves Yahweh fulfills his commandments. But now, according to the spirit of truth, as Yahushua said in John 4, as we have seen many times, the hour is coming when you will worship in spirit and in truth. So that means that before Mashiach came, they were not worshiping Yahweh in truth nor in spirit. They were worshiping him then in falsehood with a false interpretation of the Torah and in the flesh, not in spirit. So when Yahushua says that you believe in him who Yahweh sent, that is to believe in the Messiah. So if you believe in the Messiah, you receive justification, right? Which is what Abraham received when he believed in the Almighty, that Yahweh would send a son through him. So in this case, he is revealing what is everlasting life, what is eternal life. And this is everlasting life, that they should know you. And that is beautiful because it means that if you come to truly know the Almighty, creator of all things, he who causes existence, then first of all, it means that he himself wanted to reveal his presence to you. He wanted to reveal himself to you. That is huge. All like just that. But then when you know him, then pretty much you become one with him because we come to know Yahweh through the Son Yahushua, and through the Spirit of Yahushua, we are one with Yahweh as Yahushua is one with Him. So, since He is eternal, then he who knows Him is one with Him, and therefore is eternal, becomes eternal. When it comes to creatures who accept the Messiah and are able to become His people. Now, this is something that also connects with what I have spoken in previous studies regarding, um, I once told you guys about a video that I saw, like a reel about how a sound, like, how can I put it? Okay, so there was a sound. I don't want to tell the whole story again, but there was a sound of some guys cheering for their football team, right? So they were saying something which, um this was on some show that they took to make a short, and that had to do with something that I had heard previously. So it was interesting how they put it in the show. So I guess that's why they made it a short. Um, so the teacher in that college is telling them what those voices were saying, right? So it was pretty much clear when he talks about it and says what he says and whatever. But then he puts on the screen um, different words, and then he plays the audio again, and you, like everybody who sees that, will hear exactly what you are reading. So all of a sudden, the same sound, the same audio to your brain becomes something completely different. And then he did it again. He wrote something else and played the audio. And all of a sudden, the audio seemed to say something else. And obviously, are things that sound similar. But the thing is that when, like, they basically, with that test, they were able to prove how the brain pretty much will give us as a reality what we already expect, right? So with the screen, with those words, the brain was expecting to hear that the eyes were reading. So since it was expecting that, it would make the person, it makes us hear that because we were already expecting it. Like I already also explained it, in a way it could be said that the brain um the brain listens more to the eyes than to the ears. So the brain is led by the eyes more than by the ears. That's why when it comes to the flesh, people say that seeing is believing, right? Um, but it's not exactly why they say it, but it's crazy how it connects. So when the teacher in that short was talking about that and showed that, he said something that was key, and it was that pretty much saying in other words, everybody has a different reality. Obviously, we all experience the same creation done by Yahweh, but according to our experience and our expectations and our brain and our eyes and everything else, um, that is how our reality is going to be, how we are going to perceive it, right? So now, with all that said, that means what we have said also, that um, every head is uh, a word. Well, in Spanish is it sounds different, but each person is a whole world. In Judaism, that's explained pretty much as saying that um, from Adam came all of humanity, because Eve came from Adam, and then Eve got pregnant, and then everybody came from Eve. So from one person came the whole world. So each person is a potential world. But other than that, every head is a different world, because depending on your experiences and your perspective and your opinions and your beliefs and all of that, that's how you are going to experience reality. and therefore pretty much to you reality is going to be different than to another person, and depending on the differences on the person's, how big of a difference will be in that reality. And I don't mean in the sense that this cup would be blue to others, well, unless they have colorblind, but I don't know what color it would be to them. But I mean, and well, I guess that even shows my point in a more physical way. But my point when it comes to this is that when you believe in the Messiah, he is the truth. And he said, the truth shall set you free. So by knowing the truth, we are free from falsehood. And falsehood is temporal because there is nothing that is hidden that won't be revealed. So that means, among many other things, this reality, which is temporal, right? This reality is going to pass. It's an illusion. We came to this reality to learn as a school, as a test, and many other things. So if we believe, since we are made in the image and likeness of the Most High Creator, if we believe a certain thing, that will become our reality. And if you believe a lie, to you it will be a reality, but it will be a reality for just how long you live, meaning how long this world exists for you. So when this world passes, all of the people that have believed in falsehood, their reality will crumble because it was falsehood, it was an illusion, it was a lie. And then when the true kingdom is revealed, only those who believe in the truth will be part of it. So if you believe the truth shall set you free from this reality of falsehood, from the illusion, from death, right? So that's why everlasting life, and this is everlasting life, that they should know you. So not only it is through knowing him who is eternal that we become eternal, but also that they should know you. The only way to get to know Yahweh is to live forever because he's infinite. That they should know you, to know him. If we want to know him, then we will have to live forever. But those who do not want to know him, they only want to know a lie. They want to know this reality, then they will be temporal as this reality is. And this is everlasting life, that they should know you. So now, not knowing Yahweh is temporal life. That's why we enter this life without knowing about him, even though deep inside, Yahweh put a little bit of eternity right in our heart, as it is written. So through that uh, spark, we could say that he placed in us, we were um, supposed, like everybody has it, but not everybody does it, supposed to seek him and the Messiah, right? Who is the light, in order to find the way to him. So, and this is everlasting life, that they should know you, the only true Elohim, the only true Elohim. Because if you believe in a false, then you will be like the Elohim you believe in, and therefore you will disappear eventually as a lie. The only true Elohim, and Yahushua HaMashiach, whom you have sent. This is everlasting life, that they should know you, the true Elohim, the only true Elohim. And also, by saying only, is pretty much in Hebrew, Echad, the one, right? The one Elohim, that is Yahweh, Yahweh who is one. And Yahushua the Messiah, right? His son at the right hand, as we see in Psalm 110. And Yahushua HaMashiach, whom you have sent. That is everlasting life, to know the truth in order to know the true Creator, Elohim, Almighty, and by knowing Him, then you become eternal. I have esteemed you on the earth, right? Because he came to give honor to the Father, show the works of the Father, teach everything that the Father wanted to teach us through Mashiach in the first manifestation. I have esteemed you on the earth, having accomplished the work you have given me that I should do. Having accomplished the work you have given me that I should do. Right? And he wasn't, uh, he had not been resurrected yet. He had not been killed yet. Yet he is already saying that he accomplished it, right? We could see that as prophecy, of course, in a way that he already knows that it's going to happen because it was written and he knows that everything will be fulfilled. Obviously, because he's willing to finish it. But also, we could see it as accomplishing the ministry when it comes to having finished his teaching and the works that Yahweh gave him in order to give honor to the Father. And now, esteem me with yourself, Father, right? Because he wants to go up to the Father at the right hand of the Father, where he was at the beginning, the very beginning. And now esteem me with yourself, Father, with the esteem which I had with you before the world was. That is very interesting and important. I just mentioned something right in the very, very beginning. Because as we see in other books that were taken out or not included in the canon of the scriptures, right, called the Bible normally. So, as I was saying, like normally in Christianity, due to the fact that normally scripture is not really studied like in a deep way, just like normally they just take like one couple verses and then speak about a whole story regarding those two verses, right? Um, so when it comes to the idea of how the Messiah came to this world, it is most commonly because it's just, I guess, what is deduced by what it is taught that the Messiah was with the Father, with him for 4,000 years. Well, like 3,000 and uh, 3, 3,967, right? So, and then he told the Son, go down and die for them, right? So most believe that he was with the Father the whole time during Adam, during the flood, during Abraham, etc. Um, Yet here we see that it says, with the esteem which I had with you before the world was. So when the Father decided to create the world, the Son had to offer himself as the Lamb, because if the world was going to be created, then the world needed salvation. Yahushua was willing, plus Yahushua is the Word. So when Yahushua spoke creation into being, then the Word came out of the Father. And when the Word came out of the Father to make the world, he wasn't able to go into the Father until he would accomplish his work. So that's why we read in other scriptures, in other books, like the ones called Gnostic, for instance, that the Messiah, after he fulfilled his work, is when he was able to go back to the Father. But for the first 3,000 and rest that I mentioned, he hears the first years from creation until he manifested in the flesh. He first came down to make creation and, well, got, like I said, like the word coming out of the Father, made creation. And then um, by the creation being apart from the Father, was not completely pure. So when the Messiah created and when the Messiah entered, for instance, space and time, that creation, that tainted in a way, so he wouldn't be able to enter again until he would come to save his bride through his blood being shed on the cross. So it is written that he created six different heavens under the heaven of the Father. That will make seven, because then there would be seven of the Father and the Son, and then seven heavens of the angels, and then the seven layers of the firmament that represent heavens, right? So that's why Mashiach was so, well, had so many emotions and wanted so much to go to the Father. He really, really wanted to go to the Father because he had been all that time. So that's why he asks the Father, "Steam me with yourself, Father, with the steam which I had with you before the world was." So he wants to be in that same spot where he was before he created everything. So that's huge when you think about it. Now, like we have seen, and it is written in the heavens, time goes differently than on this earth. So, 3,963 years would go, well, 67 years, I'm sorry, would go faster on heaven, but um, still we haven't experienced it, or at least don't remember if we have. So, steam me with yourself, Father, with the steam which I had with you before the world was. Now, I love this verse and the verse 26. This chapter is huge because once again, Yahushua is praying to the Father. After he spoke to the disciples, he started speaking to Yahweh because he was about to die, right? So he speaks to the disciple, like, and this is in the book of John. And what I mean is that a lot of this that we are reading here, well, just like the rest of the book of John, um, is it has several stories that are not found in the other so-called gospels, right? They're not found on Mark, Matthew, or Luke. So there are certain things that are mentioned on those that are not mentioned in John for several reasons that I have already explained. The interpretation that John is trying to reveal in his book and other things. But as I was saying, when it comes to the death of Mashiach, we pretty much see how he speaks to the disciples and starts making the change from being the brother as the son of the father in the first manifestation to the second manifestation coming as the father. So that's why he says that they wouldn't be left as orphans because he would come as the father, right? Um, Also, when he's speaking to the disciples, um, he, like I said, makes that transition from what he had to fulfill as the first manifestation when he spoke in parables to what he would do during the second manifestation coming as the Father, now speaking clearly, right? And the disciples really didn't understand that well because they thought that he was talking about that same moment. But all of that I already explained in the previous chapter. Now here he is speaking to Yahweh, preparing himself for uh, death. And like I said, I love this verse in verse 26 because a lot of people say that Yahushua never revealed the name of the Father, that Yahushua never spoke the name of the Father, because in Judaism is prohibited, and because, well, traditions and a bunch of other things that they believe instead of reading the scriptures. For we read that he says, "I have revealed your name to the man whom you gave me out of the world." It is interesting to know that in Exodus, Yahweh revealed his name to Moshe. So why would Yahushua say this here? That has to do with the fact that, like I just mentioned, the Pharisees, the Jews had prohibited people from pronouncing the name of the Father. So most had forgot it, like nowadays. Some, like, because it took like more than a century, like obviously then many were born and never were taught the name, like nowadays. Same thing. Back in the day, I repeat, they made a commandment not to, and they made it, of course, a commandment of men, of demon. They said that you could not confess the name of the Father. They say, right, pretty much what they were trying to do was to protect the person from sinning, because to use the name in vain, that means for falsehood, or to change it according to what that word translated as vain means, that is a sin. So they said, if using it in vain is a sin, then how about we don't use it at all? So they told everybody not to use it, and they kept it as a law until this day. They don't use it. They don't let anybody use it. So, like I said, some in the time of Mashiach were already born in a time in which the name was not spoken. So Yahushua had to reveal the name again, and that's why he did it. And that shows the importance of the name, first of all, and second of all, as we're about to see also, the fact that there has to be another manifestation on this end times to do the same, because the world forgot about his name. And now, not only the name of the Father, but also the name of the Son. So, I have revealed your name to the men whom you gave me out of the world. They were yours, and you gave them to me. Interestingly enough, the name is Yahweh's name, but then he gave it to him because he named him Yahushua, Yahuwah, Yahushua, because he said, as we read in John 5:43, I came in the name of my Father, and you do not receive me. I came in the name of my Father. So, in this case, talking about the people that Yahweh gave to Mashiach as his sheep, they were yours, and you gave them to me, and they have guarded your word, and they have guarded your word. You remember that the word of Yahweh is the name of the Messiah, as we see in Revelation 19:13. The name of the Messiah is the word of Yahweh. So they not only received the name of the Father that was revealed by the Son to them, the disciples, but they also guarded his word, the word of Yahweh, meaning the name of the Son. So they received both. And that's why during the apostasy, the enemy um, has made sure that the Jews keep the the law, the commandment not to confess the name of the Father, and he changed the name of the Son within those who believed in him. For instance, in Christianity, changed it for a whole different name in order for people not to keep his word. Now, now they have come to know that all you gave to me is from you. Now they have come to know that all you gave to me is from you. Once again, this is very important because many people don't make any difference between the Father and the Son. They say they are exactly the same, right? For instance, in the Trinity teaching, that they are exactly the same thing. Like, if I could use that word. Uh, well, remember that in Hebrew, dabar is both word and thing. So um, they have come to know that all you gave to me is from you, because Yahushua is an extension of Yahweh. And everything that Yahushua does is because the Father gave it to him in order for him to be able to do it. Both the power, the authority, and everything else. that Yahushua does what he says Yahweh gave him what to say, as Yahushua says. So now they have come to know that all you gave to me is from you. My point is that Yahushua here is showing his humility. If the teaching of the Trinity was true, and as it is taught in Christianity regarding the Father and the Son, then that verse would make no sense and there would be no reason to be here. And why is it important that they know that everything that Mashiach did came from the Father, right? Why would that be important? Unless to give honor to the Father as He who is the highest, He who is above all, even the Son, even the Messiah. Now they have come to know that all you gave to me is from you. And I say that, like I always mention, because Yahushua said, I am the way. He didn't say, I am the destiny. And that is key. Because the words which you gave to me, because the words, and also regarding the previous thing I mentioned, remember when Yahushua was asked how to pray, Yahushua said, pray to the Father, right? Our Father, our. He included himself with us. And well, he was telling people how to pray, but he himself said it, right? Our Father. Because the words which you gave to me, I have given to them, and they have received them, and have truly known. Sorry, let me see if I can select. Okay. Because the words which you gave to me, I have given to them, and they have received them, and have truly known that I came forth from you. Remember that faith is not necessary. Well, it is, I guess what I'm going to say is going to sound weird, but it is not actually to believe. Faith is not believe. Faith is to know, right? Like, and I say that in the sense that, like, when you use the word believe, is like you believe. I believe is like that, but maybe not, right? Perhaps it could be like that. Um, I like people see believe or faith as an opinion, right? But faith is the certainty of that which you cannot see. So it is to know without having seen, right? And I say that so that we understand the faith that we must have is not, well, I believe it may be. No, we need to be sure about what we have faith in, right? That's why faith is pretty much the assurance of something. That's why in Hebrew, emunah is um, trustworthiness. Emunah is something that is faithful, is something that is like Yahushua is the cornerstone for everything to be placed on him, the true foundation. So, because the words which you gave to me, I have given to them, and they have received them, and have truly known that I came forth from you. So they came to know it, and they believed that you sent me, right? And obviously, like we see the word there, and I hope what I mentioned is understood, right? What I wanted to say, what I meant, because obviously in this case, in the context and how the word is being used here, I mean the word believe, it is that, um, well, it's that believe that you already know, as when you say, how can I put it? Like when Thomas said that he believed after he touched the hands and everything, but Yahushua said that he lacked faith, right? Because if he had faith, then he didn't need to see and touch. So that's my point. You need to come to know without having to experience it yourself. And that is like when somebody tells you an advice and that person don't doesn't want you to go through it, like to go through something bad. So he gives you that advice and you don't follow the advice and then you go through it, right? Now you know, but you had to experience it. Faith is believing Yahweh so that you don't have to experience the fire, the pain, right? Pretty much. And I'm just putting that as an example. So that's why we fulfill the commandments, because even if some things don't make like in the moment to the mind, to the flesh, don't make much sense, it is when um, you fulfill them, you become uh, pretty much more intelligent, more experienced, more wise. And when you don't fulfill them, you realize why you were supposed to keep them, right? And that is through consequences, most of the time, pain. So in this case, it is the fact that since they came to know, well, they believed because they came to know through his words, as he said here, because the words which you gave to me, I have given to them. And this is important because he's talking about the disciples, right? And they're on a higher scale than the rest of the people that believe in Mashiach. And and we can see that here because Yahushua is not saying because they saw the miracles and they believed. No, he's saying because the words, the teaching, that is key because that is going to be key when it comes to the second manifestation, the last, as the good shepherd. The voice, the sheep listen to the voice, and when they listen to the voice, they know their shepherd. And if they are not his sheep, then they won't know him or see him as anything. They won't pay him any mind, right? So, because the words which you gave to me, the teaching, I have given to them, and they have received them. And since they received them, and have truly known that I came forth from you. So, since they came to know through teaching, that means faith. And they believe that you sent me, right? So, that's why they came to believe that with certainty, not in the way that I was mentioning it, as when people say, I believe that it could be like that, right? um, so, I pray for them. This is interesting because also like because of the image given to the world regarding Mashiach, how they changed everything, the doctrine and the teaching and everything. I pray for them. I do not pray for the world. What? Right? To some, that I mean, the Messiah would not say this because the Messiah loves everyone and he would pray for the whole world, right? But in this case, we see the Messiah saying, I do not pray for the whole world. I don't pray for the world. I pray for them. Why? Because they believed. So that's why Yahushua is their intercessor. He's saying, I pray for them because they believed. And you sent me to be an intercessor for those who believe in the Son. So I don't pray for the world because the world didn't believe. They rejected the Son. Is that understood? And also, I repeat, like some could see this as a contradiction because it says in the same book of John 3:16, right? How much Yahweh loved the world that he sent his only begotten son, right? But the world rejected him. So Yahweh gave from the world some to the son. And that's why he prays for those that he gave him. That's why he says here, they were yours and you gave them to me. I have revealed your name to them whom you gave me out of the world. That's why now he prays for them, but not for the world. Yahweh loved the world, but the world didn't love him back. So the Son doesn't pray for the world. I hope that's understood. I pray for them. I do not pray for the world, but for those whom you have given me. You see how it said the same thing that just said on that other verse that connected with this one? I pray for them. I do not pray for the world, but for those whom you have given me, for they are yours. That's why he prays for those, because those who accept the Messiah as their intercessor, their lawyer, are of the Father. And those who rejected the Messiah are not. They are of the world. And all mine are yours, and yours are mine, and I have been esteemed in them. And remember, like I said, the prodigal son is the last. Yahushua is the son who never sinned, to whom the Father said, everything that is mine is yours. Right? We also see that Yahushua came to learn obedience through suffering. And Yahweh, through that suffering, through that work that he did on the cross and everything else, Yahweh gave everything in creation to him. He placed everything at his feet, authority over all things. But obviously, that leaves Yahweh out of, right? Yahweh did not uh, subject himself to the Messiah, right? It's everything to his feet. But that's why Paul also says that he has to come again as a son of man in order to subject himself to the Father. So the Father gave everything to him, and now he offers it to the Father, or he connects to the Father, and therefore everything will be one. And that's why also the first came as a son, and the last comes as the Father, and they become one. As we see here, and all mine are yours, and yours are mine. We could see that as everything that is mine is yours, and everything that is yours is mine. But also, remember that there are two sheepfolds. Yahushua came for some sheep, and the last comes for other sheep. The few and the many. Well, actually, the many and the few would be when in the same order in which I just mentioned it. The people of Israel and the people of the nations, right? So two different parts of people, the east and the west, etc., etc. So the last has to come for that other part. So we could say that when Mashiach came, those who believed in him are his. When the last comes, those who believe in him are his. But since what's mine is yours and what yours is mine, the two folds become one, as we see also in the book of Revelation. And there will be one fold, and they will have one teacher, right? Just as it says in Zechariah 14:9, in that day Yahweh will be one, and his name one. And all mine are yours, and yours are mine. And I have been esteemed in them, right? Because they believed. So it is like when you believe in someone in a good way, then you give honor to that person, even if you don't like praise the person in front of him or whatever. But when you talk good about him, that's giving that person esteem. When you think good about someone, so the disciples believed in that, so they gave him honor. And I am no more in the world, but these are in the world. Like I said, he's praying because he's about to get out of the world. So he's talking in that way, like if everything happened already. And I am no more in the world, but these are in the world. And I come to you, set apart Father. Guard them in your name. You see the importance again of his name in order to be guarded. And he who invokes the name of Yahweh will be saved, is written in the Old Covenant. Guard them in your name, which you have given me. Guard them in your name, which you have given me. Like I mentioned, Yahweh gave the name of the Father to the Son, for it is the first part of the name of the Son, so that they might be one as we are. So, once again, goes back to that unity. As we are one, for everything that is mine is yours and yours is mine. Now that they believe, make them one as we are one. When I was with them in the world, I was guarding them in your name, which you have given me. Again, confirms it, the importance and how it's part of his name. And I watched over them, and not one of them perished, except the son of destruction, that the scripture might be filled. Right? So, him as the shepherd is going to the father, talking to the father, and is pretty much giving account for everything, like saying, well, every single sheep that you gave me, I kept it, I guarded. Good thing there were only 12. Right? uh and one of them had to perish, right? One was Satan, but that was written. So it's kind of like saying, but that's not my fault, right? That was part of it. um, so it says, when I was with them in the world, I was guarding them in your name, which you have given me, and I watched over them, and not one of them perished, except the son of destruction. Now, this is interesting because this title is only mentioned in regards to Yehuda, right? Judas, and to the false Messiah. Destruction, the destroyer, Apollyon, remember, who comes out of the bottomless pit during the fifth trumpet. The son of destruction, the son of Abaddon, the son of perdition, right? That is the entity that will enter a body, the image of the beast, and will claim to be the Christ. Yahushua is the son of the creator. The false Messiah is the son of the destroyer. We could say, right? The opposite. So, the son of destruction. Yahweh is the Father who, through his word, created everything. And Yahushua is the word. So we could say Yahushua is the creator. And then we have in Revelation 9 that Abaddon comes out of the bottomless pit, who is called in Greek Apollyon, and it means the destroyer. So if Yahushua is the truth, the Antichrist is the lie. If Yahushua is the life, the Antichrist is death. That's what it brings. If Yahushua is the creator, for Yahweh created everything through the word, then the false Messiah is he who destroys creation. So that is the entity that Yahweh allowed to enter Yehudah when he ate of the bread that Yahushua gave him. But by him allowing that entity to enter him, he became himself the son of destruction. Because, like I said, the son of perdition will be when that entity that is in the bottomless pit will enter a body. The son of destruction, Ben Abaddon. That the scripture might be filled, right? It had to be fulfilled, so that had to happen. And now I come to you, and I speak these words in the world, so that they have my joy completed in them. And now I come to you, and I speak these words in the world, so that they have my joy completed in them. Remember, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but remember the connection between joy, simcha, with the word Messiah. Mashiach, if you rearrange the letters, you get Yismach, and that is, he will rejoice. So it is through Mashiach that our joy will be completed. I have given them your word, and the world hated them. Right? I have given them, we could see this as your teaching, what you told me to tell them. But also, since the word of Yahweh in singular word is the name of the Son, Revelation 19:13, then we could see this or interpret it as I have given them my name, which is your word, and the world hated them. Remember that scripture says that we will be hated for his name's sake, right? We will be hated for his name's sake. But he who perseveres till the end, he will be saved. So, I have given them your word, and the world hated them because they are not of the world. This is important. They are not. It doesn't say they will be not of the world, right? It says they are not. That would be the reason why they recognize Mashiach, because they are not of the world. Because everything that is of the world rejects Mashiach, because darkness cannot comprehend the light. They are not of the world, as I am not of the world. That's why, as I was saying, when Mashiach came out of the Father in order to continue with creation, right? Because first, in the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth, and then Elohim said, "Let there be light." So at that moment, pretty much, the Messiah came into creation, for light is Mashiach, and He is eternal. So He entered creation in order to continue it, we could say. But then He wasn't able to enter back into the Father, the third heaven, until He would complete His work on the year 4000, pretty much, when He came to die for our sins. So, like I was saying, He had to come and die for His bride, and the bride is one with the groom when they consummate, right? Of course, when they consummate, they become one, the husband and the wife. So that's why, since Yahushua is not of the world, his bride, the congregation, is not of the world. He came down from the Father, but he got tainted with sin, and that's why Yahushua had to come and pay for it in order to take his bride. And that's why the scripture says that husbands need to be willing to give their lives for their wives. I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, which is pretty much what they are expecting with the rapture, right? I do not pray that you should take them out of the world. It's interesting the prayer that Mashiach does and the way he puts it, right? Because, well, a lot of us may want that instead. Like, just can you take us out of the world, please? Right? So Yahushua is praying for what needs to be done and for what we need as well. His will, not ours. I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, but that you keep them from the wicked one. All right? So pretty much it is when we are feeling the wicked one attacking us that we don't want to be in the world, right? When we see the works of the wicked one, is when we don't want to be part of the world. And I say that like, well, in my case, I don't know you guys, but regarding that prayer, right? Like sometimes I would pray, just take me out of the world. But we need to understand what is the will of the Father through this verse from the prayer that Yahushua was doing. It is not, I don't know why it was so low. I'm sorry. It is not that we um, should come out of the world, because then we would not get the reward and the inheritance and everything that comes through the Messiah, but that we are kept from the wicked one, which is perfect. It is better when we get to understand what being in this world means and why we are in the world. But more than that, when we see this and we believe, of course, we know that Yahushua is the Messiah, the Son of the Father, and that whatever the Messiah asks for, Yahweh gives it to him, because everything that is the Father is the Son. So Yahushua asked the Father to keep us from the wicked one. So that should be enough to us, in the sense that we should not fear, because Yahushua already prayed for that, for us to be kept from the wicked one. And then he goes again and says, "They are not of the world, as I am not of the world." We need to understand that, and that's why many times we feel like we don't want to be in the world, because we are not part of it. We don't seem to fit in it, but we need to come. We needed to come to do a job as ambassadors from heaven. Set them apart, and also remember how I mentioned we come from Yitzhak, right? Because we come from Jacob, who came from Yitzhak, and Yitzhak was a miracle child, because Sarah was already 90 years old. She had lost her period a long time before those 90 years. Abraham was 100 years old, and then they got that child that was a promise from Yahweh that wasn't written on the stars, as when Yahweh told Abraham to come out of the tent and look at the stars and count them, which could be also interpreted as read them, right? So, because of the word in Hebrew, I mean, and because Hebrew letters are also numbers. So, since Yitzhak, we could say, was not written in the stars, but Yahweh wanted to send Yitzhak through Abraham as a representation of Yahushua, who is not of the world, but came through a virgin, a miracle. Yitzhak, who was not within the destiny of this world, but Yahweh wanted to send him as an example of Mashiach. So when Yitzhak came, and then Jacob, and then through Jacob, the tribes of Israel, that means we all came from Yitzhak. So if Yitzhak was a miracle and was not written in destiny, then that means that we are not of the world because we were not part of the plan for the world. And I mean the world, the temporal world. Of course, we are the plan of Yahweh is for us to come through this world in order to enter the next one. Set them apart, set them apart in your truth. Your word is truth. And Yahushua said, I am the truth because Yahushua is the word. The word of Yahweh is the name of the Son, and that's why in the beginning was the word, and the word was with Yahweh. Well, the word was with Elohim, and the word was Elohim. Set them apart in your truth. So through the truth, we are set apart from the world because the world is a world of lies. Like I mentioned with the what I was saying earlier regarding every head being a different world, every person experiencing a different reality. So if within your reality you include Yahushua, who is the truth, and you subject yourself to him and his commandments, then you are seeking to have a real life, that of truth. And that is how you become eternal. Because everything that is not truth is temporal. So set them apart in your truth. So if we are not in his truth, we are not set apart. We are part of that which will pass. Your word is truth, right? The scriptures also, of course. Let me see something. This is verse 17:17. Tough, tough. Let me find the Hebrew. This is the Hebrew New Covenant that I have mentioned several times. So John 17:17. Kadesh Otam. Set apart, made them set apart. Make them set apart, yeah. Just a second. All right. So Kadesh Otam Ba'amitecha, with your truth, in your truth. Then he says, all right, the barecha, your your word emet. Your word is truth. So going back to, so in Hebrew, the barecha emet, you see the bar, that is word, and that is Yahushua. The word is Yahushua. The kaf means your. So your word is emet. And we know this word emet as very important because it has the aleph and the tav. So first and last, who would come anointed, the two anointed ones, to reveal the truth, emet. So Mashiach as first and last, that's the truth. Also the truth is the first who came as Mashiach, the water of life, and finished the work on the cross. That is what we can see in the word itself, emet. Also, the the ox, the descendant of Joseph, coming anointed after the 40 jubilees to seal the chosen few of the end as the last. All right, so now going back here, set them apart in your truth. Your word is truth. As you sent me into the world, I also sent them into the world. So hmm, we could see this obviously as Yahushua telling the Father, as you send me to teach and preach, I send them to preach and teach. Um, Also, we could see here, because they were already in Israel and they already in Israel heard Mashiach and his teaching, but now they would be sent to the world, and meaning the nations also. As you sent me into the world, I also sent them into the world. So, with the same purpose, and that's why the disciples would have to die like him, except John. As you send me into the world, also, like when the last comes into the world through the nations, I also send them into the world where the 144,000 are among the nations. And for them, I set myself apart so that they too might be set apart in truth. And for them, I set myself apart, right? It was because of us, for the love that he has for us, in order to pay for us, that he kept himself apart from sin throughout his whole life in order to be able to pay for our sins with his blood by fulfilling all of the Torah. Also, he made himself set apart when he was willing to wait during all of the first part of human history away or apart from the Father in order to come to this world. And for them, I set myself apart so that they too might be set apart in truth, so that we may be set apart, but now from the world. So Yahushua was willing to be set apart from the Father, meaning entering creation and waiting until entering through the flesh and dying so that he could go back to the Father. So just like Yahushua was willing for our well-being to sell, set him set apart from the Father, now he did it so that we may be set apart from the world. And I do not pray for these alone, but also for those believing in me through their word. This is huge because some would say, when I read the previous verse, right, not the very like this one, but the one above regarding how he said that he wasn't praying for the world, but he was praying for them, right? Some would say he's only talking about the disciples, right? But Yahushua here is explaining it just in case. And I do not pray for these alone, but also for those believing in me through their word. So those who believe in Mashiach through what is written by the disciples. So Yahushua prayed for us to be set apart and to be guarded and protected from the wicked one, so that they all might be one. So that they all might be one. As so, you see, once again, making reference to the two sheepfolds. In this case, it's talking about the disciples and those who would hear the disciples and believe. So it can be seen as the few and the many. It can be seen as Israel and the nations. And so that they all might be one. As you, Father, are in me and I in you. Because the Spirit of the Father was within the body of Mashiach. And Mashiach, being in the world, was in Yahweh, because the world is within Yahweh, being Yahweh all that is, and therefore there's nothing outside him for the world to be apart from in that sense. so that they all might be one as you, Father, are in me and I in you, so that they too might be one in us, so that the world might believe that you have sent me. So we see three levels here as the first, second, and third heaven, now becoming one for eternity, so that they all might be one as you, the Father, as the third heaven, are in me, as Yahushua, let's say in this case, second heaven, and I in you, so that they too might be one in us, the first heaven, that of humanity, becoming one with all of the heavens above, so that the world might believe that you have sent me. So when we are all one at the end of history, then the world, right? Those who didn't accept him, those who rejected him, they will all realize their mistake and will realize how um, Yahweh or why Yahweh did everything. And the esteem which you gave me, I have given them, so that they might be one as we are one. So you see the importance of unity, and that's why to love one another as yourself, because we are one. But we need to understand it in order to experience it. We need to believe it in order to see it. The fact that we are one, even though in this reality, for the fact that we are in separate bodies, we feel as individuals. And the enemy uses that to bring division. So so that they might be one as we are one. Interestingly enough, Yahushua said, do not believe that I come to bring peace. I came to bring division, right? For he is the sword. But it was the division that needed to happen for us to be set apart from the world, for now us to become one with the Father, right? So, in order to bring that unity, there had to be a separation first. Just like for Adam and Eve to become one through marriage, they had to be separated first, which is interesting also. Remember that it is at least taught in Judaism that Adam was the front and Eve was the back in one body, the two. So pretty much it was, even though in that sense we could say they were one in body, but it is very different when they were separated and they were able to be in front of each other and love each other, know each other face to face. As when it is written that then we will see face to face. Now we see dark as in a mirror, but then we will see face to face. That is to know. And to know is the verb used to represent sexual relations, right? That makes the couple one. So to know is to become one. And that's why everlasting life is to know Yahweh. Because when you know Yahweh, you become one with him. So I in them and you in me, so that they might be perfected into one. Perfected. The only way to be perfected is to be into one. Yahweh is one. So the only way to be perfect is to be one with the Father. So we need to be set apart from the world and eventually set apart from this body when it is transformed, so that they might be perfected into one, so that the world knows that you have sent me, right? So that the world realizes finally that in fact Yahushua is the Son of the Almighty. So that the world knows that you have sent me and have loved them as you have loved me. So Yahushua loves us as Yahweh loves Yahushua. And that is a lot. And have loved them. That's why he was willing to die. And that is the true love, right, of a husband for his wife, and I mean the true love that, or the love that the husband should have for his wife. Father, I desire that those whom you have given me might be with me where I am. You see how Yahushua spoke this, yet he had not been killed yet, but this is as if he was already with the Father, which is similar to when Paul says that we are already sitting in high places, heavenly places, with the Father and the Son. Because in the eternal perspective, everything already happened. So we're there already. But we are still stuck in time. So we still experience this reality. So Yahushua knew that, of course. So he's speaking as if he's with the Father already. Also, because we would read this when he would be. And that shows that everything was fulfilled even when we are still in time. And remember, it is also said that past, present, and time is all happening at the same time, simultaneously, but we only experience one aspect of it. Well, I was just thinking when I kept quiet because of this word emet. Like if we see this as time, right? This would be past. This would be the future. This would be the present. Oh no, not that. Let me see. The mem would be the present, right? And interestingly enough, the aleph is the first letter, as in the beginning, right? The creation of time. And the tav is the last letter, as in the end, the ending of time. And in the middle is the mem of Mashiach, because to live is Mashiach, and this world was created for Mashiach by Mashiach. And time is separated in before Mashiach and after Mashiach. So he is the present. That's why salvation is a gift, a present, right? So going back. Father, I desire that those whom you have given me might be with me where I am. That's huge and that is beautiful. That is so good because it's going to be such a blessing, such an honor to receive the same. And look how good Yahushua is and how much he loves us that he actually said that I want them to be with me where I'm at. What I attain, I want them to get it also. Now it's interesting why he says that he wants that, which is also understandable. Like when you have friends, you want them with you, and when you get blessings, you want your friends to also be to share those blessings, to enjoy those blessings with you. So I desire that those whom you have given me might be with me where I am, so that they see my esteem which you have given me. Right? That's interesting. I mean, it's like a son, right? A child is beautiful, and I know Yahushua was already grown and everything. But when I think about it that way, as in, I want them to see everything you gave me. I want them to realize how much you love me, so that they see my esteem which you have given me, because you loved me before the foundation of the world. O righteous Father, indeed, the world did not know you. I love this also. Indeed, the world did not know you. It is as if Yahweh told him, but Yahushua didn't believe him. And then Yahweh is telling him, I told you. Indeed, you're right. Right? So, because it is amazing, it is unbelievable, but it is understandable when you actually get it, as in, right? Yahweh is apart from the creation, so that's why creation cannot know Yahweh. And also, Yahweh hid himself so that we would look for him and so that we could have free will, because if we all knew him there would be no free will, because we would just do whatever he needs us to do and wants us to do instead of what we want to do. And the point of this reality is so that we realize what we need and then want that for our own good, and therefore attain all that is good, right? Meaning to choose, to want the will of Yahweh instead of to do the will because you were programmed to do it. Because then there will be no reward for it. So if there's no reward for doing things, if you are programmed to do them, then there will be no heaven, there will be no kingdom, there will be nothing. So there will be no point for this reality to happen. So then we will be back at the beginning when it was only Yahweh existing with the Son. So, O righteous Father, indeed the world did not know you, but I knew you. I love that. And these knew that you sent me. I knew you, right? When Yahushua was born, he knew the Father. He knew where he came from. He grew up and he taught of the Father. Now I also like the other part. And these knew that you sent me. He doesn't say, and these knew you, right? Because they were also lost because of the falsehood of the time. But when they accepted Yahushua as the Son, that made them know the Father. We could also say the fact that they accepted the Son revealed that within them they knew the Father before they enter this reality because they were not of the world, as He is not of the world. But as you know, we forget everything when we enter the body, as when you wake up and you forget the dream that you just had. So, O righteous Father, indeed the world did not know you, but I knew you, and these knew that you sent me. Now listen to this. And as you guys know, verse 26. 26 is the numerical value of the name Yahweh, interestingly enough. And he repeats this, and I have made your name known to them. Once again, the importance of his name for Yahushua, not only to reveal it to the disciples, but also to mention it so many times. And to close the prayer with that. And I have made your name known to them. Like, that is huge. That is important. Remember that. And I have made your name known to them and shall make it known. This is key because the first time he only spoke about the first manifestation, but now in this second time, he's speaking about the second manifestation. Verse 6, verse 26, separated by the 20. Interesting. The letter Kaf, the palm of the hand, representing the king, the crown, the throne, which is the second manifestation. And I have made your name known to them. I repeat his name, numerical value 26, as the verse itself. And shall make it known, meaning I already did it, but then I'm going to have to do it again. Because in the middle, there will be an apostasy, and the enemy would make the people forget or not even get to know the name of the Father and the Son. So he, Yahweh, would have to manifest again as the prodigal son to now not only teach about the name of the Father, but also of the Son. And I have made your name known to them and shall make it known, so that the love with which you loved me might be in them, and I in them. So as we know, Yahweh is love. So as it says here, I made your name known, so that the love with which you loved me might be in them. That means that to have the love of the Father, meaning to have love, true love, not the love of the world, which is once again false. It's just a representation of true love. The love of the Father, heavenly love, which is Himself, Yahweh, enters us when we know His name, because Yahweh is love. So to confess His name, we receive the spirit of love. And that's how we become one with Him, through love. And that's why love unites. And that's why love has a numerical value 13. So two people who love each other would be two 13s. And 13 plus 13 gives us 26, which is Yahweh. And I have made your name known to them and shall make it known, so that the love with which you loved me might be in them. And through our belief in the name of Yahweh, we receive love, the love which Yahweh has for the Son, and therefore we love the Son. We accept the Son. You loved me might be in them, and I in them. So when we accept the Son, Yahushua, the Spirit of truth comes to us. So now we are with the Father and the Son, love and truth. I hope that's understood.